Isang makakalikasang araw sa ating lahat. Nasasabi ka na ba sa bagong kaalaman na matutuklasan tungkol sa pag-aaral ng agapang kapaligiran? Aalamin natin yan ng sabay-sabay kasama ang ating masigasig na tagapagsalita sa araw na ito. Inihahandog ng Philippine Association of Environmental Science Students ang PANTAS, Environmental Research in the Local and Global Setup, ngayong ika-29 ng Nobyembre sa kasalukuyang taon. Ang ating programa ay dadaloy mula alas 3 hanggang alas 4:30 ng hapon. Ako si Kent Isaiah Herosong Maghari mula sa Cavite State University, ang kasalukuyang Vice President for Internal Affairs ng Philippine Association of Environmental Science Students. Samahan niyo akong matuto at tunghayan ang isang makabuluhang talakayan. Ngunit bago tayo magpatuloy sa mga nagnanais ng e-certificates, maaari kayong makakuha nito matapos i-fill out ang evaluation form na ilalagay sa ating comment section. Paalala na ang evaluation form ay bukas lamang simula mamaya hanggang bukas alas 8 ng gabi. Ngayon, sino at ano nga ba ang PAES? We are the National Association of Organizations from both undergraduate and graduate levels of degree programs aligned, related or equivalent to environmental sciences and environmental management. Tinatanggap din natin yung mga organisasyon mula sa environmental engineering, environmental planning, environmental biology at marami pang iba. Kaya kung nais nyo maging kasapi ng aming samahan o mayroon kayong mga katanungan, maaari kayong magpadala ng mensahe sa membership.paes@gmail.com. Ipinagmamalaki rin ng PAES ang ating member local organizations. Makikita natin kung gaano nakalawak ang narating ng ating samahan sa buong Pilipinas mula sa iba't ibang universidad sa Ilocos Sur hanggang Zamboanga del Sur. Sa kasalukuyan ay meron tayong 57 organizations or universities na miyembro ng PAES. Malugod din nating binabati ang mga bagong kasapi ng ating organisasyon. Sila ay ang Bohol Island State University Belar Campus, Guild for Environmental Science Students Enthusiasts, Ateneo de Davao University Environmental Science Community, at Nueva Vizcaya State University Student Union for Nature. Kasama din natin sa webinar na ito ang ating mga YesO media partners. Nariyan ang Castilleros National High School ng Zambales, Famay National High School ng Laguna, San Roque National High School ng Bulacan, San Ricardo National High School ng Nueva Ecija, Palawan National High School ng Palawan at Julian Soriano Memorial Comprehensive High School ng Zamboanga del Norte. Makikita rin sa ating screen ang mga social media accounts ng PAES. Kung gusto niyong malaman ang mga bagong kaganapan ng aming asosasyon, follow us sa mga social media accounts na yan. Sa Instagram ay @nvisci_students_ph kung saan pwede nating makita ang mga larawan ng mga kwentong ganap sa buhay NVSci. And on our YouTube channel, @Environmental Science Students PH para mabalikan at mapanood ang paborito nating webinar episodes. Para naman sa iba pang anunsyo, maaari niyong i-follow ang aming Facebook page at para sa ating mga miyembro, huwag kalimutang sumali sa ating Facebook group. And para naman sa ating presentation outline, sisimulan natin ang programa sa pamamagitan ng isang baselining activity na susundan ng opening remarks at pagpapakilala sa ating resource speaker. Matapos ay magpapatuloy tayo sa main presentation at pagbubukas ng Q&A session upang tugunan ng mga katanungan at komento mula sa mga kalahok. Ayan, para sa ating baselining, maaari niyong buksan ng inyong mga browser. Just search menti.com at i-type ang code na 64374738. Or you can just scan the QR code na makikita sa ating mga screens. Again, pumunta lamang sa menti.com at i-type ang code na 64374738. Sagutin lamang ang mga tanong na maaari niyong makita at maaari niyo rin itong sagutin sa ating comment section. Again, pumunta lamang sa menti.com at i-type ang code na 64374738. Ayan, so while waiting for our participants to join in our baselining activity, tignan muna natin ang ating mga attendees sa ating Facebook Live. Ayan, so we have participants from Surigao del Norte State University main campus. And shout out din sa Cavite State University. Mindanao State University Main Campus Marawi. We also have participants from Samal Island City College, Central Bicol State University of Agriculture, Sipocot, Camarines Sur, and Western Mindanao State University. Ayan, so I think we can now proceed sa ating first question for our baselining. Ayan, so kindly type kung nasaang probinsya ka ngayon. Ayan, so meron din tayong participants from Tarlac State University. Ayan, so meron tayong participants mula sa probinsya ng Bulacan, Marinduque, Lanao del Sur, Taguig. Ayan, meron din from Nueva Ecija. Ayan, meron din from Palawan, Pampanga, Agusan del Norte. Ayan, so kung makikita nyo, sobrang diverse ng scope ng ating national organization. So proceed po tayo sa ating next question. Ayan, ano ang paborito mong marine species? Ay, ba't may Marinduque pa? Baka nagkamali lang. Ayan. So, ayan, ang paboritong marine species ay dugong, mobile ray, orca whale. Ayan, si Dory daw from Finding Nemo. Ayan, turtle, fish duck, manatee, shrimp, sea cucumber, leatherback turtle. Oh, very specific. Dolphins. Ayan, green sea turtle. So as you can see, marami rin tayong mga marine species. Okay, proceeding with our next baseline question. Ayan, sa iyong palagay, alin ang pinakamalaking hamon sa yamang dagat ng Pilipinas? Overfishing, climate change, marine pollution, o mahinang pagpapatupad ng batas sa marine protected areas or MPAs? Ayan, so currently, ang majority ay pinupunto na yung weak policy enforcement, yung pinakamalaking hamon ng mga yamang dagat natin dito sa Pilipinas. Ayan, sinusundan ng marine pollution at climate change. Ayan, so maraming salamat sa mga participants na nakibahagi sa ating baselining. Mahalaga ito para mas makilala ng ating speaker kung sino ba yung mga kalahok natin sa webinar natin ngayong araw. Ayan, excited na ba ang lahat para sa ating webinar ngayong hapon? Ang PANTAS Environmental Research in the Local and Global Setup ay isang programa ng PAES kung saan iba't ibang mga resource speaker mula sa iba't ibang field na related sa environmental science ang ating iniimbitahan upang ibahagi ang kanilang mga karanasan at mga pag-aaral upang mas mapalawak pa ang ating kaalaman at makapag-inspire sa atin na mas makialam pa sa ating kapaligiran. Ngunit bago ang lahat, hayaan niyo muna ako magbigay ng pambungad na pananalita. Ayan. Naniniwala ba kayo sa kasabihang, there is more to what the eyes can see? Nakikita nyo ngayon sa inyong mga screen ang simbolong madalas makita sa bawat Pantas episode. Ito ang dapat na motto nating lahat, lalo na tayong mga mag-aaral ng agampang kapaligiran. Ito ay ang simbolo ng holistic approach ng environmental science na tinatawag nating Environmental Science raised to ENC or ENVI-SCI-EC. Pwede rin itong tawagin ENVI-SCI powered by ENC. So ano nga ba ang ibig sabihin ng ENC? E stands for ecosystems. Ito yung iba't ibang uri ng kapaligiran na meron tayo, gaya ng terrestrial, forest, desert, freshwater, marine at kung ano-ano pa. Ang C naman ay nangangahulugang components. Ito yung mga aspeto na bumubuo sa environment: physical, biological, social, economic, at institutional. In short, hindi lang tayo tumitingin sa kalikasan bilang puno, dagat o hayop. Tinitingnan natin siya ng buo. May science, may tao, may lipunan, and of course, may mga polisiya, kaya nga holistic approach. And I believe oras na para makinig at mamangha sa ating resource speaker ngayong araw. Kasalukuyan siyang instructor sa Institute of Tropical Ecology and Environmental Science, Faculty of Forestry and Environmental Science ng Visayas State University Main Campus, Baybay City. Graduate siya ng cum laude sa kursong BS Environmental Management sa VSU Main Campus at matagumpay din siyang nakapagtapos ng Master of Science in Environmental Science sa School of Environmental Science and Management or SESAM ng University of the Philippines, Los Baños. Ang kanyang mga research interest ay freshwater ecology, water quality at nature-based solutions. Kaya mga ES scholars, ipakita natin ang full attention, support, and energy through virtual claps para sa speaker natin ngayong hapon. Let us all welcome Ginoong Kit Felian C. Tenyo. And Sir Kit, maayong hapon po.
So, hi guys, isang makakalikasang pagbati sa ating lahat, no? So, i-share ko muna yung aking screen. Okay. No? So, um, wait, nakikita na ba yung presentation ko?
Yes po, sir.
Mr. Ken? Okay. So, isang makakalikasang pagbati sa ating lahat. No? Once again, I'm Kit Filianci Tenyo. Um, I'd like to thank the Philippine Association of Environmental Science students na nag-organize for this kind of event to inspire aspiring environmental science students and professionals around the country. So I'm here to share my early career experiences in the field of environmental science. No? So I'm currently an instructor at the Institute of Tropical Ecology and also Environmental Sciences under the Faculty of Forestry Environmental Science in Visayas State University, Baybay Campus. So ito yung magiging outline ng aking presentation or discussion for this afternoon. So basically, I will just be talking about myself and also my research experiences throughout the years as a young researcher. So number one would be motivation behind choosing environmental science. So what made me, choose the field of environmental science growing up in a rural area of Southern Leyte? Kasi I'm sure na ang alam nyo lang dito usually ay Leyte lang, 'di ba? Pero meron ding southernmost part of Leyte. So itong itong Leyte kasi merong Biliran province, Leyte province, and lastly itong si Southern Leyte, no? So next one is journey in environmental science research. So kung ano yung mga naging journey ko in terms of my academic uh, experiences, no? Specifically in my research during my undergraduate degree and also my master's degree. Next one would be involvements in research activity. So dito, I will be specifically highlighting my experiences when I was part of the Earth System Research Team Lab or Earth Lab under the School of Environmental Science and Management in UPLB, since lahat siguro ng mga natutunan ko ngayon na na-apply ko sa mga students ko came from that lab, no? So, ayun. And I want to share those experiences that I had with everyone. Next one would be the challenges, no? Ano yung mga challenges that I have experienced while conducting environmental research, no? And what made those things difficult para ma-achieve ko yung mga objectives ng mga research project na I've been part of, no? And lastly, advice, no? Especially for our young and aspiring environmental science students out there, listening very carefully. And also yung mga graduates na, I hope may mga VSU graduates na nakikinig sa akin ngayon, ng mga na-under ko before. I think meron akong nakita kanina. So hopefully mas dumami pa sila. No? So I think let's start na. So ano ba yung naging motivation ko, no, in choosing environmental science, no? So from what I can vividly remember talaga, nag-start yung parang spark ko to have an environmental related degree during way back in 2006. Kasi hindi ko actually, 'di ba, 2006 pa yan. So I was around 6 to 7 years old. So hindi ko pa alam yung environmental science na field kasi bata pa nga ako. Pero doon na nag-start yung spark na parang gusto ko makakuha ng kurso related to the environment. Kasi doon ko first experience talaga. Yung namulat ka na experience mo yung Typhoon Milenyo way back in 2006 when I was still living in Quezon City, no, in Metro Manila. And then next one would be your Super Typhoon Yolanda, no, and its impacts, no, in Tacloban way back in 2013. So nung 2013, I was already we moved, our family moved in Southern Leyte na, no, and then started my secondary education up until my college, no, which is pag college ko sa ano na sa VSU. So I was able to experience the wrath, no, the onslaught of Super Typhoon Yolanda. Um, how many people died, how it killed many people, no, and how it also influenced, no, the living conditions in many parts of Leyte. And seeing how powerful natural phenomena can completely change our lives made me curious. No? So ayun, yung mga tanong na yan na how does this kind of event happen, and also how can people prevent this from happening? And kasi according naman to sa mga scientists natin, marami ng parang in a way interventions, no, para ma-reduce or mitigate ang impacts of climate change. But the main question there is how fast are we going to act, no, to make sure na ma-reduce natin yung impacts ng climate change, no? Kasi kitang-kita naman natin na grabe na yung mga bagyo, especially where I live, no? I live in Region 8 in Eastern Visayas, and parang kami talaga yung bumubungad sa lahat ng bagyong dumadaan sa Pilipinas. Hindi man kami ang bumubungad, pero always talaga kami naaapektuhan, no? So ganon. And also in a way para matulungan natin to protect, no, our communities, no? Not just to survive but also thrive, no? So um during my undergraduate degree, I actually took BS in Environmental Management. No? So I graduated in 2019. No, I took my undergraduate degree at the Institute of Tropical Ecology and Environmental Science na siya ngayon, no? In Visayas State University. No? So kung makikita nyo, yan yung mga classmates ko. Ito sila, no? Mga classmates ko nung college ako. And this is a picture while we're doing a field work, no, back in 2018, no, 8:53 a.m. And siguro i-highlight ko na lang yung naging undergraduate thesis ko, no, during that time. So I mainly focused, no, in the phenological observation, no, of beach forest tree species, no. So ano ba yung mga example ng mga beach forest tree species? So example natin is yung Molave, no, or your Vitex parviflora. Sa amin tawag siya ay tugas, and it has a high timber quality. Kasama din doon sa mga tiningnan ko ay yung Terminalia catapa or your talisay, no, talisay. And also yung bitoon or your Barringtonia asiatica. So, tiningnan ko yung mga reproductive phases nila, no? And hindi lang naman limited doon, meron din akong mga sinama pang ibang mga study plants, no? Pero hindi ko siya masyadong na-focus considering na sobrang taas ng time na kailangan kong invest first uh, plant species or study plant para ma-observe ko yung mga phenological characteristics nila. No? So, tiningnan ko kung ilang days yung bud formation, starting from the bud formation, up until nag-bloom yung flowers, tapos na-fertilize yung mga flowers, and then nag-produce na ng mga young fruits until naging mature sila at pwede na silang kunin, no? Or i-harvest or mahulog sila uh, sa tree. No? So, ito, tiningnan ko, ito yung actually yung flower ng Barringtonia asiatica or bitoon. Ito naman yung flower ng Vitex parviflora or your tugas. No? And tiningnan ko din actually yung mga pollinators. No? Kung ano ba yung mga species ng mga pollinators na nagpo-pollinate doon sa mga flowers ng ating mga study plants. No? So, kung makikita nyo dyan. And also, uh, I also tried to look into the atmospheric parameters that could influence the different phenological stages or yung mga productive phases ng mga beech forestry species if nakakaapekto ba itong mga atmospheric parameters na to. So ano yung mga atmospheric parameters na tiningnan ko? So yung light intensity, relative humidity, yung rainfall, and also wind speed. Fortunately, meron kami noong malapit na station, no? Pag-asa station, kaya no-monitor talaga yung mga different atmospheric parameters. So, ano bang importansya nitong study na to? Bakit kailangan ko pang tingnan yung phenological observation niya? Are your phenological characteristics? It's because this study is very much helpful to restoration or reforestation efforts. Kasi considering na yung mga ganitong species, like for example, yung malave or your tugas, your Vitex parviflora, I think critically endangered na siya na species and majority talaga ng mga species nito ay hindi na nakikita no sa coastal areas or sa mga beach areas kasi yung mga coastal areas natin or beach areas natin are already converted into residential or tourism areas, 'di ba? So kapag makakita ka ng isang mother trees and then saktong namumulaklak siya and you have in mind in doing reforestation efforts, then siguro alam mo na kung ilang days, anong month ka ba or ilang weeks ka ba bago ka bumalik para makuha mo yung mga fruits na may seeds na from the mother trees. Kasi nga, again, yung mga mother trees ay hindi mo na lang basta-basta makikita in lowland areas, no? So, yun yung challenge nung thesis ko, kaya ako siya ginawa, no? So I also wanted to share my experience of being part of a non-government organization, which is Restoration Initiative for Sustainable Ecosystems, no, or RISE. So ito si RISE is actually an offshoot organization from the 10-year collaboration between Visayas State University and also Yale University in the US. No, so um, itong si Rice, it focuses in restoring degraded landscapes and transforming them to sustainable one through the adoption of rainforestation na technology. So itong si rainforestation technology is a reforestation strategy siya, no? Reforestation strategy which incorporates or mainly utilizes yung mga tinatawag natin ng mga native tree species. So bakit importante ang native tree species na gamitin dapat sa mga reforestation strategies? Because number one, they do not just help in sequestering carbon from the atmosphere. They also help in lessening or reducing the impacts of climate change, no? And yung buttresses ng mga native tree species natin ang lalaki. They are deep-rooted and can withstand extreme weather conditions, no? Kasi nandito na sila noon pa as comparison to your non-native na mga species, no? Like mahogany, mga gemelina, na mga introduced species, no? So, ayun. And yung ginawa namin sa RISE, we've conducted, so parang gearing towards siya sa extension ng mga activities, no? We've conducted international training. So as you can see, yung mga participants namin are coming from different parts of the world and also different parts of the Philippines, no? So ito naman, itong Liptong Woodland, this is located in Negros Oriental, in Bacong, Liptong Woodland. So if you're familiar with Tatay Ite, please pa-regards ako sa kanya. No? So yun yung mga ginagawa namin sa organization na to. So next siguro would be, again, my journey in environmental science research na during my MS degree in environmental science na research, no? So in my master's degree, I had the opportunity to work on an intensively used water body for, different anthropogenic activities, which is, ito yon, si Lake Bito. So si Lake Bito is one of the major lakes in the country, no, located in Leyte. So sa Leyte, we have 4 to 5 lakes. If I'm not mistaken, no, you can correct me. And yung pinakamalaki sa lahat is yung Lake Danao, located in Ormoc. And then I think followed na siya nitong si Lake Bito na nasa MacArthur Leyte. So ito si Lake Bito is primarily used for aquaculture activities, no? According to different references, 60% yung ginagamit sa kanya for fish cages and fish pens, and then yung the rest is for open water na mga fishery. And way back in 2012, it was put into limelight because a fish kill incident happened, no, which claimed more than 1.2 million pesos. So, ang laking loss noon sa mga fisher folks natin na taga Barangay Villa Imelda. So, ang ginawa ko, no, tiningnan ko kung ano yung current ecological condition, no, ni Lake Bito, no? So, I conducted my thesis way back in 2021. Excuse me. And then, since ecological assessment, di ba alam naman natin na kapag mga ecological assessment, ang dami dapat na mga parameters yung titingnan natin. And since ako lang naman ito, at limited lang yung kaya kong gawin in a span of time, ito yung mga specific na mga tiningnan ko sa study ko. So yung kalidad ng tubig, ecological assessment of Lake Bito, kalidad ng tubig, ano-ano yung mga isda nakikita natin sa lake, and also land cover analysis in MacArthur Leyte, Philippines. No, so unfortunately, I was supposed to conduct a land use land cover change analysis, or your LULC. No? So makikita mo yung changes ng land use, no, sa isang area, no, from, let's say, a specific period of time. No? So sa ginawa ko, no, so trial and error yun. I think it was 2019, 2020, and 2000, 2010, and 2020, no, if I'm not mistaken, or 2021 ba yun? And then, unfortunately kasi, yung mga satellite imageries available in USGS Landsat, where you can get your satellite imageries, mga Landsat or Sentinel na mga satellite imageries, ay majority of them ay greater than 10% yung cloud cover. No? So sobrang hindi mo na talaga itong site na to kasi ito, sobrang liit lang nito. Maliit lang to siya actually. Mga, I think, 1,000 hectares lang to. So yan, tuldok lang yan siya dyan sa Leyte Island. So kung covered siya ng clouds, ang hirap gawin yung remote sensing, no? And I've also requested satellite imageries from NAMRIA, and also contacted friends, no, of my thesis advisor during that time. And unfortunately, wala talaga akong nakuhang satellite imagery ni Lake Bito. No? So ito yung mga stations na mga establish namin. So 5 stations yon. 5 lang. So actually, marami yan sana. Mga umabot yan ng 9 stations. Unfortunately, you need to work within your means. No? Hanggang saan kaya mo lang. Especially yung financial resources mo. So, naging 5 stations na lang siya. So, ayan, 5 siya. kung makikita nyo dyan. So, papakita ko sa inyo. So, guys, I can't show you the results of my undergraduate thesis. I mean, my master's thesis, sorry, kasi I'm still writing it for publication. Di ba, ang tagal na. So, sobrang, I mean, tagal niya na, no? 2023 ako graduate, pero up until now, hindi pa rin siya napapublish, no? So, ayun, no? Isa din yun sa mga kailangan ko pang i-work on ngayon, no? So, sa mga iba dyan, sulat niyo na yung mga thesis niyo para ma-publish na yan. Hindi naka-stay dyan sa mga laptops niyo. So, ayun. So, ito yung mga ginagawa namin. Ginawa ko noon pala doon sa thesis ko. So, kung makikita nyo, ayan, fish communities, tiningnan ko kung ano yung mga specific na mga isda na present, no, sa Lake Bito. So, hindi na ako nakahingi niyan ng gratuitous permit, no? So, itong gratuitous permit are helpful, no? Ito ay ginagamit mong permit, I mean, para magbigyan ka ng permission ng gobyerno ng Pilipinas para mag-collect ka ng mga samples, no? Uh, for research purposes. So, sa akin, kung isda, yung kailangan, kung kukuha ka ng mga isda, sa BFAR ka kukuha. So, ayun, hindi na ako pinakuha based on my inquiry sa BIFAR, sa QC. Kasi naman, ang nangyari noon was I coordinated with the fisher folks, and since intensively used ang lake for aquacultural purposes and also fishery resources, so yung mga stations na mga in-establish ko, fortunately, lahat ng mga, yung mga na-contact ko ay pumupunta talaga doon sa mga stations na yon, no? Specifically sa mga stations na yon. So, ang nangyari, pumunta sila sa port, tapos kinausap ko sila kung saan to galing ng mga ano na stations based sa description ko with my tour guide, kasi grabe talaga, dapat you need a proper coordination and also access, no, to relevant informations with you, especially if you are already in the field, no? Kailangan mo talaga manghingi ng mga information kasi yung mga community talaga, yung members of the community knows best, no, sa area. So kung makikita nyo, composed yan ng Nile tilapia, kitang-kita nyo naman, no? Or your Chromis niloticus, which is an introduced species. Ito naman, ito ay species ng Gobiidae family, no? So, ayan siya. I think, if hindi ko pa nakakalimutan, I think Glossogobius guris yan. And yung mga gobid na mga species, siguro ay very common, no? All throughout the country. Sa amin, sa Bisaya, ang tawag dyan ay tambasakan. Pero sa Tagalog, I think, ang tawag dyan, yeah, hindi I think. Ang alam ko talaga ay biya or bunog. No? So, meron yan silang parang sucker sa tiyan para yun yung parang defining feature nila para madali silang makapag-attach ng sarili nila doon sa mga bato. Kasi nga, mabibilis yung flow ng tubig sa mga rivers or in some parts of a lake. Ito naman, I also did a water quality assessment. Kung makikita nyo, I am doing I'm using a Secchi disc, no, para for turbidity. So ano ba yung mga parameters ng thesis ko noon? So at anong naging basis ko? So ang naging basis ko talaga noon, yung parang naging Bible talaga ng mga water quality assessments, is dapat mabibase ka sa Department Administrative Order 2016-08, DAO 2016-08, or your Philippine Water Quality Guidelines and General Effluent Standards, no? So yun, kasi naka-specify doon kung anong mga specific na mga parameters yung kailangan mong i-assess, kung ano din yung mga specific na mga land use yung nandoon na makikita sa iyong mga study sites. No? So ayan, makikita nyo, dinala pa to actually itong mga equipment na to, galing from Sesame UPLB, no? So grabe talaga caring yung mama ko, no? Yung thesis advisor ko noon, si Doc Lucel Iqui. So ito yan siya. Dinala pa niya to. Ito, nag-bathymetric survey kami in the lake. But unfortunately, hindi kami nakagawa ng bathymetric map kasi considering na kailangan ng i-submit yung mga samples namin, no, to the DNR laboratory kasi yung mga samples natin, ng mga water samples, ma-expire yan. no? So dapat um, mindful ka, no? Mindful ka sa um, pag-collect mo ng water samples kasi based on EMB standard protocols, may ilang hours lang yan para viable pa or pwede pang i-analyze yung samples mo. Excuse me, lang ako ng tubig. Kaya dapat talaga when you are doing, excuse me, when you're doing water quality assessment, you are properly coordinated, no, with the laboratory centers kung saan ka magpapa-analyze. Kasi nung time ko noon, nung 2021, no, that was still during the pandemic. So, grabe talaga yung mga pinagdaanan ko noon. Oo. So, kailangan mong coordinated ka kasi kapag meron kang daladalang samples, tapos pagdating mo doon sa laboratory centers, hindi pala sila makaka-accommodate ng samples mo kasi puno din sila, di sayang yung effort mo, no? The costs of everything, the transportation, the coordination, all of the efforts, no, associated with your sampling collection, mapupunta yun sa wala kapag hindi ka properly coordinated with everyone, no? So, ayun. So, I just also wanted to share, no, na nahirapan talaga ako during my water quality assessment kasi nga, um, isa yun sa mga struggles na na-experience ko kasi I was about to I did send my letter of request to the DNR EMB na Region 8 namin. And unfortunately, na, na rejected, no? Or declined yung request ko na i-shoulder nila yung expenses ko sa mga water samples na isa-send ko sana sa laboratory. And ayun, parang in a way gumuho yung mundo ko kasi approve na yung visit out time ko during that time. So, kailangan ko talagang maging madiskarte and to find a way na ma-analyze yung mga samples ko kasi hindi biro ang assessment for water quality. Mahal, it's expensive. Oo. So, example, sa biological oxygen demand, sa EMB pa lang, per sample it's already 800 pesos. And kung meron kang 5 stations and para ma-subject mo siya for statistical analysis, dapat may 3 replications. So 3 times 5 is 15 times 800. So tatakbo na yan hanggang 12K pesos and above. And yung ginawa ko ay wet and dry seasons. No, so ang tindi sana ng magagastos ko during that time. Pero I did all my best during the time. I communicated with a lot of people to shoulder my expenses. And fortunately, um, yung parang friend ko ay binigay sa akin yung parang communication with the DNR ENB laboratory in Palo and natulungan ako no to shoulder the expenses no so hindi ko na lang papalangalanan kung sino pero ang laking tulong niya talaga sa akin during my master's degree thesis kasi libre lahat except sa fecal coliform kasi um punong-puno na din ng samples, hindi na ma-analyze yung samples ko noon. So I had to find a way para ma-analyze yung mga samples ko noon. So, no, ang dami kong na-share isang slide pa lang. Sorry guys. No? Next is I also incorporated no mga social research methodologies in my thesis during my masters no. So I looked into the knowledge, attitude and practices of the community towards Lake Bito. Tiningnan ko kung ano ba yung kaalaman no ng mga community doon sa Lake Bito. Ano yung attitude nila and ano yung mga practices nila towards the protection, conservation of Lake Bito. So nagkandak ako ng key informant interview or KII, and also conducted a focus group discussion. So makikita nyo dyan, um, kung makikita nyo dyan dito sa part na to, may tatlong parang kartolina yan na white. So nakagawa kami yan ng community-based land use maps. Pinaka-compare ko doon sa mga aming mga participants, mga members of the Fisher Folk Association, barangay officials, and community members, kung ano yung nakita nilang mga developments all throughout the years. May it be from 2000, 2020, 2010. So, ayun, just as a glimpse of the result, kitang-kita talaga na mas dumami yung tao kasi gumawa kami ng historical timeline of developments din sa thesis ko. So, nakita na mas dumami yung tao, oh, sobrang dumami yung tao sa surrounding area, dumami yung fisher folks, no? Yung mga fish cages and fish pens, dumami. So start mga around 2000, sobrang lalaki pa ng fish cages and fish pens. And within growing population of the fisher folks, dapat equally distributed yung area, no, ng lake. So ang ginawa, inarrange or nag-implement ng isang palisiya na dapat sa isang fisher hook, ganito lang kalaki yung fish cages or ganito lang kalaki yung fishing boat, ay yung fish cage or fish pens, no? So, ganun, no? Kung makikita nyo. And also, yung nag-land cover analysis din ako ng Lake Vitos watershed using Geographic Information System or QGIS. So again, supposedly nag-LULC ako nun, pero land cover analysis na lang considering na hindi talaga available, no, yung ibang satellite imageries that I needed for my specific method that I will use during that time. So, ayun, perks of being part of having research activities. I was able to participate in international conference. So this was in Japan just this year, no, around March. I was able to present my thesis, no. So sa tagal noon, 2023 pa yun, sa present ko 2025 na. So, no, so okay lang yan, no. Kung hindi niyo pa napipresent yung mga thesis niyo sa mga international conferences, don't feel pressured. Time will come, no, para sa mga papel niyo. Magtiwala lang, no. So, laking tulong nito ng university namin dito sa BSU kasi I was sponsored, no, para mag-present ng thesis ko internationally. And also, no, yung involvements ko in different research activities. No, so again, as what I have mentioned earlier sa outline ko na I wanted to specify, no, specifically highlight, no, or emphasize me being part, no, of the Earth Systems Research team or Earth Lab, no, when I worked as project technical assistants back at the School of Science and Environmental Management in UPLB, no. So ayan, because it allowed me to meet a lot of great people during that time, no. So yung mga bosses ko kasi diyan, mga boss ko, mga bigatin, no. Number one, si Dr. Decibel Faustino Eslava. She is a professor, a geologist, and the current dean of this School of Environmental Science and Management. And also si Dr. Juan Miguel Gautana, wala siya dyan sa picture, no. Sila yung mga mentors ko talaga doon, no. Geologist and also a professor in UPLB CESA. Pero I think hindi ko na alam kung saan siya ngayon. Pero ayun, and I'm sure na isa siya sa mga naging resource persons ng PAES during this kind of event, no. I think first quarter of this year or last year, no? Naging resource person si Dr. Juan Miguel Gautana. And also si Dr. Jeneline T. Padrones, isa din siya sa naging boss ko. And also my thesis advisor, no? Kasi siya yung nagtulong sa akin na makapasok sa Earth Systems Research Team, no? Isa din siya sa mga professor sa UPLB CESA. So I was part of two projects, no, in UPLB CESAM. The first one is Project Saray or Project Smarter Approaches and Reinvigorating Agriculture as an Industry in the Philippines. And the second one is Project Pamana or Philippine Mining at the National to Catchment Scale from Legacy Impacts to Sustainable Futures. No? So, and also a consultancy project na naging part din ako na ako yung nag-lead RA. So makikita nyo yung mga ginawa ko noon. So ayan, ako lang yan. Ako lang yan. So piniprevent ko talaga na makita yung mga kasama ko, no, kasi ayun na, live pa naman ito. Pero ayan, kung makikita nyo, when I was hired as a project technical assistant under the DOST Picard funded project na Project Pamana, yung minention ko kanina, um, meron yung 5 work packages, and specifically I was assigned to work package 1, in which I was assigned to do assessment, no, of water quality. Water quality, tingnan ko din yung fish and macroinvertebrate ng mga assemblages, and yung assess din yung heavy metal concentrations na makikita, no, sa tubig, sa sediments, and yung mga biological samples that we were able to collect during our sampling activities. No, so ito si WP1, si Work Package 1, assign ako, it aims in establishing, no, background water and also ecological quality in uh, Philippine river catchments, and para ma-disentangle din yung impact ng mining from other anthropogenic activities or pressures. No, example, agriculture, aquaculture, and other um, anthropogenic pressures. No, si WP1, it aims to develop and demonstrate yung mga novel technologies na mabibigyan ko ng example mamaya, no, and kung ano yung mga analytical approaches na mga ginawa namin at ginawa ng mga partners namin, no, para maka-provide ng mga baseline water and ecological quality in Philippine river catchments, no? So ayun, itong research project na to, we were in partnership with uh, UK, no? Mga UK partners namin. Kung makikita nyo yung mga ginagamit ko ng mga equipment dyan, ay hindi din mga basta-basta kasi mahal sila. It's very expensive. So itong ginagamit kong Aquatrol for my water quality assessment, it costs around 1.5 million pesos and above. So mahirap siya considering na sa mga universities, just like for us in BSU, limited lang yung mga equipment na meron kami. Wala nga kaming ganyan, no? So I was fortunate enough to be able to use such equipment, no, of high kanang technology during when I was part of this project. So kung makikita nyo, nagka-count ako niya, nag-segregate ako ng mga isda, and also collected biological samples for heavy metal analysis. No? No? So ito, mamaya na yan, babalikan ko na lang. So ito, so kanina, ito kanina, I was in Cagayan River. We were in Cagayan River at the time. And itong si Cagayan River, ito yung mga major river basins na tinitingnan ni Project Pamana. And si Cagayan River is the largest major river basin in the country. Now, we are now in the Agno River Basin, no, which is a minerals river basin. So madaming mga small-scale mining activities and also mga large-scale mining activities dyan. And ito yung mga ginamit namin ng mga equipment, yung acoustic Doppler current profiler. So hindi din basta-basta yung mga ginamit namin ng mga equipment dyan, no? From our UK partners. And ginagamit namin to usually itong ABCP kapag hindi na lagpas tao na yung tubig, yung river. And ito namang electromagnetic flow meter or EM flow meter na ginagamit namin in rivers na kaya pa, no? Hanggang tuhod, hanggang bewang, basta hindi lang lagpas tao. No, and also, ito yung parang ginamit namin na novel technology, yung diffused gradient in thin film. So ito'y ginagamit, no, passive sampling technique, no, in environmental science research, which can measure time integrated na mga bioavailable metals, no, and also mga pollutants, no, in water, soil, or sediments. No? So si DGT. So also, hindi din ako pwedeng magbigay ng mga results, no, sa project na yun kasi majority din ay sinusulat pa din namin up until to this day, no. Hindi pa tapos kasi hindi talaga biro kapag you are doing publication. Next is ito naman, we were in Abra during this time, and kung makikita nyo, I was also segregating similar fish species, acquiring fish samples for heavy metal analysis, and also collecting water samples, no, for heavy metal analysis. So ito kami, so nakakakaba talaga yan kasi kung titingnan nyo, nasa center kami ng Abra River. So ito si Abra River, malapit to sa Vigan City. So sobrang hirap niyan, so very challenging, no? Kahit naka-life jacket ka, kakabahan ka pa rin kasi nasa center ka ng Abra River, no? And ayokong mabasa considering na may mga gamit, mga dala-dala kaming mga mamahalin na mga equipment. So ito, no, collected water inside. Ito naman sa Apayo Abolog River, no, still in the northern part of Luzon, nag-collect din kami ng water inside ng samples for heavy metal analysis. We also collected fish samples for heavy metal analysis. So, ayun, same lang din yung mga pinagagawa namin ng mga sampling activities in the different um, major river basins in Luzon Island. And ito naman, no, when I was part of a project din, no, since mga boss ko nga ay, yung mga mentors ko doon ay mga geologists, nagko-collect kami dito ng mga sediments, no, mga geological na mga studies, no. So nakaka-amaze kasi you get to experience those things that I did not expect, no, that I'll be able to experience when I was still in Leyte, no. So kaya dun ko talaga na realize na if an opportunity comes in your path, if timbangin mo, if um, mentally, physically, emotionally, kaya mo ba? And also financially, kung kaya mo. Kasi if kaya naman, nung apat na yon, then why not? No? You need to have one step forward. Dapat one step forward ka. Kasi para makuha talaga natin yung mga, mga dreams in life na gusto natin gawin, no? Habang bata pa tayo. No, so ito, mga coring method, mag-grab sampling, and also nagpatulong na kami yan sa um, mga student assistants namin para tumulong, no, sa pagko-collect ng mga samples or pag-prepare, lab prep ng mga samples namin na ipapa-analyze doon sa mga laboratories. Kasi yung mga heavy metal concentrations ng mga assessment or I mean analysis, no, sa mga lab ay nasa Makati pa. Ito din, when we're doing lab preparation, no, of macroinvertebrate samples. So, ito ay Sinalodonta woodiana, no? So, ang lalaki niyan, mga mussels. And also this one, yung pag-iisa-isahin talaga namin pagkuha yung mga loob para makakuha kami ng specific na amount required for analysis sa mga laboratory, no? So we are extracting samples for heavy metal concentration analysis as well. So ayan, mga bivalves yan. Ito naman ay mga gastropods. So, ayun, with I'm still connected, no, with Sesam UPLB kasi yun yung mga boss ko nandoon and they're constantly um, in a way reaching out para tumulong din, no? Na-invite kami doon sa mga training activities conducted by Sesam UPLB. So this was in Calubian, Leyte, no? This was last August, no, 2025. So ito yung si Dr. Decibel Islava, the current dean, no? Our Lodi, no, si Dr. Juan Miguel Gotana, and ito yung mga students and also some of our staff here in ITES, no? They are teaching us how to use LiDAR, no, LiDAR. So, galing. No? Thank you so much, no, Cesar. And ito na siguro, um, ay papakita ko lang yung pinaka latest na publication. Ito, with also perks of being part of research activities, no? I'm also, or our team were able to, yun, nakapublish sila ng paper, no? Forever but not everywhere, unexpected non-detection of per and polyfluoroalkyl substances or PFAS in major Philippine rivers. No? So ito mga per and polyfluoroalkyl na mga substances are forever chemicals na and they are found, no, in your mga household. Makikita sila doon. Like for example, nagagamit sila ano yun? Okay? So, ayun, yun yung mga perks, no, of being part, no, of research activities. So, ito siguro, yung mga, i-highlight ko yung mga challenges in environmental research. So number one siguro would be the unavailability of equipment. Kasi ito siguro yung mga struggles. I know this is one of the struggles of um, students who graduated their higher studies abroad. Kasi knowing na alam na nila kung ano yung mga ginagamit nila doon, mga high-tech na mga gamit, and then pag bumalik ka ng Pilipinas, challenging siya kasi hindi mo ma-practice yung ginawa mo doon, considering na wala tayong mga ganong equipment, no? So, yun yung isa yun sa mga challenges. Just like for me, for my experience, nakakagamit ako noon sa UPLB Sesam ng mga multi-parameter na mga equipment. And right now, wala kaming ganun. So, challenge din talaga siya kasi communicate with, um, I had to communicate with our EMB laboratory center here in Eastern Visayas so that we can send our samples for analysis. And again, no, connected lang to actually lahat ng mga challenges na to. Expensive laboratory expenses. No? As what I've mentioned earlier, na yung mga specific parameters per sample ay mahal. No? And kung limited ang mga funding sources mo, then limited lang din kung ano yung kaya mong gawin, no? Sa mga ah, thesis mo, sa study mo, or sa research project mo. Next one is proper coordination with stakeholders. No? So struggle din siya considering na maybe walang signal dun sa study site nyo at kailangan nyo ng prior communication ahead of time. No? So kailangan talagang well communicated and organized kapag nagkakandak ka talaga ng mga environmental researches. Kasi again, just like environmental science, you're not just gonna rely in one scientific field, no? Dapat you encompass many different scientific fields. Kaya sa totoong buhay, para siyang no man is an island because we need to communicate and also depend with each other, no? And also kailangan natin ng tulong, no? Sa lahat ng pwede nating hinga ng tulong. And also, mga weather disturbances. Isa din ito talaga sa mga struggle, no? Kapag you're doing environmental research. Kasi, like for example, parang meron kaming nangyari nito noon na parang we are scheduled to conduct an assessment in Laguna Lake. Unfortunately, may bagyo during that time, no? So, na-reschedule siya. Or like for example, pagdating nyo mismo sa site, kahit tumingin kayo ng weather forecast, umulan ng malakas and it led to flooding. So ganon, no? So sa Earth Lab namin under kay Doc Day, we always practice, no, and looking into weather forecasts, no, ahead of time before scheduling fieldwork activities. Kasi importante yon. Like for example, in water quality, hindi ka pwedeng mag-collect ng water samples tapos bumabaha. 'Di ba? Kasi itong mga baha na nangyayari sa river, it's para siyang cleansing. It's a mechanism of your river to clean itself. So may bias na doon sa pag-collect mo ng water samples. No? So hindi yun pwede. Kahit nga sa mga soil assessments, hindi pwede na umulan, tapos magko-collect ka ng mga soil samples or magso-soil profiling ka. Hindi yun po pwede. So, ganun yung yun yung mga siguro, one of the most common challenges in environmental research studies. So, last, siguro, ito yung advice ko, no? So, number one, the path in environmental science is not linear. So, ako talaga yung very good example nito. Kasi, yung experience ko during my undergraduate thesis, nag-focus ako ng mga beach forestry species, no? Kasi isa yun sa mga opportunity na na-receive ko during my undergraduate. Sponsored kasi, shouldered kasi siya, no? So, with one of our partners, no? From Zoological Society of London, Philippines, so ZSL. So, natulungan ako noon. And then, pagdating ko ng master's degree ko ay nag-focus na ako sa tubig tabang, no? Sa mga freshwater bodies. So, parang, in a way, it means na pursuing the field of environmental science doesn't necessarily follow a parang straight or predictable route. Instead, it involves twists, turns, no? Um, unexpected or challenging na mga discoveries. No? So, ganun yung mga nangyari sa akin for number one. For number two, keep going because your work matters more than you know. So, choosing to study the environment is choosing up for the future. So yung mga challenges that you are researching, may it be about climate change, may it be about biodiversity loss, pollution, or um, sustainable solutions ba kaya yan, are some of the most critical issues of our time, no? And in this trying time, especially here in the Philippines. And every questions you ask, every data set that you analyze, and every idea your test contributes to a healthier, no, and also resilient na mga communities, no? So ganon, malaking tulong talaga. So number three, or the third one, research is hard, but you are madiskarte, no? So you will have days na parang hindi na make sense yung mga na-collect mo na data. Na-experience ko to ilang beses na, no? When experiments doesn't work, no? Or when the problem seems too big for you. So parang na-experience ko noon na yung na-reject nga yung letter ko for para ma-shoulder yung expenses ko. So I did exhaust all of my options during that time to make sure na hindi ako mabibigatan when it comes to financial expenses kasi yun na nga, wet and dry seasons yun. So aabot talaga yun ng almost 500,000, no, na na gastos kasi mga almost 9 or 8 to 9 na mga parameters yung tinihan ko sa thesis ko. And I had 5 stations, 3 replications each, no? So 15 samples per parameter. So sobrang gastos talaga. And ayun, masasabi ko lang talaga na God will provide and everything will align, no? Sa kung anong ginagawa mong tama. And the last one would be perseverance is your strongest tool, no? So environmental research will always demand patience, no? So from what I've experienced, no, in the entirety of my master's degree, it's we will always encounter different problems, challenges along the way. But it's not the setbacks, the failures, no, that will define you as a student, professional, a researcher, or as an individual. But it's really how you stand up for yourself, formulate solutions, and address for you to move forward, no? Ika nga nila, it is with greatest pressure that a diamond earn its sparkle. Diamond yan. No? So, siguro, ayun lang. I hope that you learn something from me and I get to inspire more people to take this challenge of being part of the movement, no? Para sa ating kalikasan. That would be all. Thank you so much.
Ayan, maraming salamat Sir Kit for that very brain-stretching talk. And gusto ko lang po i-share na naging interesting sa akin kung paano niya ginamit yung research para makapag-provide ng solution sa mga naranasang problem ng ating mga communities. For instance, yung typhoon na po na naranasan niyo before. And ayun, tumatak din sa akin yung pakikibahagi nyo sa RISE, yung Restoration Initiative for Sustainable Ecosystems. Kasi nai-apply po natin yung paggamit ng pananaliksik or research before po tayo gumawa ng specific environmental action, lalo na sa pagtatanim ng native tree species. Kasi inaalam din po natin, inaaral natin yung lugar, inaayon natin yung klima, yung uri ng lupa, and yung biodiversity surrounding the area. And natuwa rin po ako sa thesis journey nyo all throughout your uh, uh, graduate uh, graduate thesis journey. So I consider nyo rin yung social aspect ng thesis kung saan nagkaroon po kayo ng interview with fisher folks during your data gathering procedure. And this is very well noted po kasi related sa coastal areas yung thesis ko. And communicating with the community is one of the integral process na kailangan namin. And to end, we should really keep going because our work matters more than isa po ito sa lagi kong ipapaalala sa aking sarili kapag nakararamdam ng pagod sa gitna ng thesis and advocacy journey. And at this point, let us now open the floor for questions. Keep those questions coming sa ating Facebook Live because Q&A time na. Aking tinatawagan si President Kendrick Faramilo upang magsilbing moderator sa ating talastas.
Okay, maraming salamat, Kent. Kindly stop the share screen muna. Wait lang. Okay, so habang nag-aantay tayo ng nag-questions from other participants, mag-shoutout lang muna ulit tayo sa mga participants na nag-comment sa ating Facebook Live. At para bigyan natin ng time uminom ng tubig si Sir Keith, kasi inom pa siya, iniinom. So for the participants like Agusan del Sur State College of Agriculture and Technology, University of Southern Mindanao, Southern Luzon State University, Quezon Province, Mindanao State University Naawan, Caraga State University, Colegio San Agustin of Bacolod, Julian Soriano Memorial Comprehensive High School, Northeastern Mindanao State University, Visayas State University Baybay, Davao Oriental State University, Surigao del Norte State University, Northwestern Mindanao State College of Science and Technology, San Matias National High School, Benguet State University, Cebu Technological University of Aragao, San Roque National High School, and Camarines Norte State College, Labo Campus. So kita mo naman, Sir Keith, na all over the Philippines ang ating session every time na tayo nag-webinar. And siguro, dagdag ko lang dun sa point ni Kent. Kasi alam ko na freshwater person ka, pero hindi ko nakita na ganun palang kalalim yung pagiging freshwater mo. Parang last time, nagiinuman lang tayo sa ISIS, tapos ngayon, research person talaga siya. During your graduation, if you remember, di ba, nakita tayo that time. Tapos, watching your session, parang for me, tapos ang ganda pa ng story mo na inumpisahan mo sa Yolanda. So, kung hindi pa sasapat na story yung Yolanda para mag-end by say ang mga tao, ewan ko na lang talaga. But having parang a mentor, kasi di ba usually ang mga pinapanood nating scientist ay Western. Pero ngayon kasi local talaga yung ginagawa sa PAES. So it's very important for me na paibig mo yung mga tao na mag-research. Kasi mag-researcher in the Philippines, even if maraming challenges, meron pa rin talaga siyang parang bright bulb na, okay, sige, ito yung ating gagawin. So it's really interesting for me to have that kind of ang hirap parang star, kung may artista, like star na ikaw yung titignan namin as a researcher for freshwater ecology. So sana yung mga high school students na nasa Zoom tsaka nasa FB Live, ito yung sign nyo na mag-researcher kayo sa Pilipinas. Mahirap pero worth it siya. But going back dun sa ating question, so magkakaroon tayo ng ranking sa ating questions para hindi ka ma-pressure. Unang question natin ay galing sa Zoom. So ito yung level 1. So ang tanong niya, kaso anonymous participant, lagay ka na lang sa chat kung anong pangalan mo pag natawag na kita. So what is the vital role of lakes in our environment? And does it affect kapag wala daw bang organism dun sa lake?
Okay. Thank you so much for that question. So actually, ang lakes are very important as a wetland ecosystem. Narinig ba ako?
Yes.
Okay. Importante siyang wetland ecosystem because it acts also as a filtration system, coming from your upland areas or even nga sa mga agriculture activities. Just like for example in Lake Bito, dun sa study site ko. So, si Lake Bito is the lowest point in that particular watershed. So, lahat ng mga basura, lahat ng contaminants or pollutants, di ba? Different ang contaminants when it comes sa pollutants, di ba? So, lahat ng contaminants and pollutants ay papunta sa Lake Bito. And yung mga different organisms present in that particular ecosystem, they will be able to utilize those, So, depende na sa reaction ng system ng lake kung ano yung magiging resulta. it can lead to a physical incident, may it be a eutrophication, pero yun talaga yung mangyayaring process niya. And yung lalabas na tubig mismo doon sa lake, since nagamit yung mga nutrients, let's say mga pollutants, mga contaminants in that particular lake, if you try to compare the quality siguro of the water outside, outgoing, or sa outlet ng lake, compared sa pumasok sa lake, no? Different na siya. So, ayun. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Sir Kit. Bilang nasabi mo yung filtration, confirm ko lang, counted ba yung groundwater as a freshwater ecosystem?
Well, kasi yung groundwater ecosystem, wala naman nakikitang mga organismo doon. Pero in a way, parte pa rin siya ng freshwater, yung groundwater natin.
Okay, dahil parte siya, meron kasi nagtanong from Marinduque State University, ano daw ba yung mga nature-based solutions para ma-prevent or ma-mitigate yung groundwater contamination?
Well, ang problema kasi sa mga groundwater contamination ay yung proximity nito sa mga different anthropogenic na mga activities. No? So, pwede, ang gawin mo, like for example, in residential areas, I mean, this has been practiced for the longest time, no? Na may dapat meron kang septic tank or like for example, you also have a wastewater treatment facility to make sure na yung mga lumalabas na mga waste no, generated by these particular industry sectors are in a way acceptable yung kalidad ng tubig. Kasi kailangan natin isipin na merong mga standard limits no na kailangan nating i-consider if you look into a specific water body. So if ibibisitahin natin yung parang sinabi ko kaninang Bible ng Water Quality Assessment, yung Department Administrative Order 2016-08, nandoon yung mga specific na mga standard limits no for a specific water body. So kung ang isang river ba, isang lake or isang coastal community, ay coastal area, anong specific na class level. So kung ito yung specific na class level niya, so dapat ito yung mga standard limits na titingnan natin para to make sure na yung mga nagagamit natin ng mga tubig ay theoretically okay, hindi nakakasama ng katawan, ng organisms, or ng human bodies.
Okay, sige. Pupunta tayo sa difficult round. Kasi nasabi mo
Hala,
na
nakakaloka
may
naman
apat
yun.
lang naman ata. Or 4 to 5 questions. Yung rurok yung pang Miss Universe lang. Ito, third question pa lang. From Cebu Technological University. What ways can nature-based solutions be applied to improve and protect freshwater ecosystems?
Mm. Nature-based solutions and freshwater studies. Sige. So siguro ang isa sa mga number one na papapasok agad sa isipan ko when we talk about nature-based solution in freshwater bodies would be increasing the vegetation in the riparian areas. 'Di ba? So, 'di ba may rivers tayo or like for example may lakes. So yung immediate vegetation na present dyan, no? Yan yung tinatawag natin ng mga riparian areas, no? So, itong mga riparian areas, riparian vegetation, they are very much helpful because they act as buffer zones, no? So, na-absorb yung mga hindi mabuti or hindi makalidad na tubig. And also, itong mga riparian vegetation na to, even nga sa result ng thesis ko ay nakakatulong siya para mas mapalamig ang tubig, no? Kasi I mean, sino ba namang organismo ang gugustuhin ang mainit na tubig? And with higher temperature of water, the lesser the amount of dissolved oxygen is present. And usually, ang mga organisms present in hot or warm temperature ng mga tubig ay generally stressed no, or disturbed. No? So, ayun. And temperature is one of the most important no, water quality parameter among all water quality parameters. Kaya, ayun. I hope I was able to answer your question.
Okay. Ito, 0.5 question kasi personal to sa akin. Kasi, fan ako ng mangrove, like, nature-based as mangrove yung gagamitin natin. Pero yun kasi ay for saltwater, for marine ecosystem. So, I've been trying to figure out kung ano ba yung riparian vegetation nga, yung parang on top of mind, ano bang parang 2 to 3 native species ang dapat tinatanim sa ating mga rivers at lakes?
Ano?
And on top of mind, yung parang 2 to 3 native species na makakatulong dun sa riparian area natin para, kasi di ba mag-mangrove, kuwari may mangrove species na dapat tinatanim sa coastal areas. Yung
Mm-mm.
parang wala pa kasi ako nakikita na river growing activity. So gusto ko maging karoon ng river
Mm-mm.
river
Siguro
tree
din,
growing activity.
actually, hindi ko masyadong alam yan, pero doon kasi naman sa reforestation technology that I've mentioned earlier, 'di ba, yung we utilize native tree species and also depende kung anong land use management objectives yung gagamitin mo. So kung like for example, riverbank stabilization, we also have I think hindi ako sure ha, parang nasa tip siya of my tongue, pero yung number one na iisip ko is yung dao, no? Kasi itong dao na species, I forgot the scientific name, i-search natin. Pero ito kasing si dao can withstand, no? 315 per hour na wind speed, no? During the Typhoon Yolanda. I mean, hindi naman siya, walang ginawang scientific article for that. Pero dun kasi, dito kasi sa VSU, na-withstand niya yung hangin, yung lakas, no? Ng hangin ng Super Typhoon Yolanda. And nakatayo pa rin siya. Considering na, ano siya, parang emergent tree, no? Sa canopy. Makikita mo talaga siya doon. Kasi umiibabaw siya. Sobrang laki mo. No? So, ayun lang. Wala na ako pa kung masyadong naiisip na iba pang mga kahoy na pwedeng itanim sa riverine areas. But what I can answer to that question specifically would be you need to plant native tree species, siguro. Ayan, native tree species. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Sir Kit. So last two questions, dahil may dumagdag. Pero i-edit ko ng konti yung nagtanong sa Zoom para mapasok natin sa freshwater ecosystem. In terms of plastic pollution dun sa mga lakes tsaka sa rivers na napuntahan nyo, na-quantify mo ba siya or hindi na siya part of the study?
Oo, actually, alam mo, sa ngayon, isa talaga yung microplastics na gustong-gusto kong gawin na research. Ang problem kasi, bago lang ako dito and kailangan pang magsulat, no, sa mga research proposal. Pero during my time, papunta na sana talaga ako, kung hindi ako na-hire as an instructor here in VSU, papunta na talaga ako sa microplastics research. Kasi ililipat na sana ako ng ibang research project specifically sa Kalubian Leyte. Oo, under ni Doc Rosel, no? So, magma-microplastics research na din sana ako noon. Pero ayun, sa thesis ko noon hindi ko siya nagawa. Out of scope na, hindi na siya kasali.
Mm-mm. Pero doon sa lake, anong letter D? Lake D, Tito? Lake Tito nga ba?
Bito, BITO.
Tito. Si Lake Tito, maraming lumulutang na plastic na basura.
Actually, according to the interview that I conducted, ang sabi ay meron daw noon, marami daw yung mga plastics. Pero ngayon, considering na mas napaigting yung implementation or strict enforcement of um, policy sa area, wala na daw sila masyado nakikita. Pero makikita mo pa rin, meron ka pa rin makikita sa,
Mm-mm.
especially sa port, kasi mas maraming tao doon.
Okay. And last question na for your closing. Kasi meron tayo, I think this is the first webinar na sobrang daming yes or high school students yung naging
Wow.
kapartner
Thank
namin.
you
So una
guys.
kasi
Thank you,
parang
thank you.
last year pa yung tatlong yes o yung nakausap namin. Ngayon anim sila and spread out it Luzon and Mindanao. So sana next time may Visayas na National High School. Pero ang question niya is, i-adjust ko rin siya ng konti. Like, how can YesO or youth organizations like YesO participate din sa mga ginagawang studies? Like, you have kayo na FGD for Fisher Folks. Paano ba makakapasok yung mga YesO sa mga ganong klaseng activities para makapagbigay din sila ng perspective nila dun sa problem in the environment?
Okay. Actually, currently, meron kaming, supposedly, last week lang to. Ay, this week, o pag Wednesday. Supposedly, magmo-MOA signing kami with a YesO ng Baybay National High School dito. Magmo-MOA signing sana kami nung Wednesday. Unfortunately, hindi sila available, kami lang. So, pangit naman nun. So, better sana na nandun kaming lahat, no? Ng mga signatories. And one of the activities that we are going to do, no, with the help, no, of course, ang gumawa talaga nitong partnership na to ay ang aming student organization, which is ang Association of Environmental Science Students, which I am really proud of, no, si President Daryl, no. I hope he's watching right now. No, so siya talaga yung gumawa ng way para maka-create ng link, no, between our university and Baybay National High School. And ayun, magkakandak kami actually ng environmental awareness na or information drive in their university about reforestation technology na mini-mainstream namin dito sa BSU as a strategy for ecosystem-based disasters reduction management na method. So ayun siguro sa in terms of research naman sa thesis, siguro pwede siguro 'yon na yung eskwelahan niyo o yung high school niyo ay makipag-coordinate sa mga state universities. Kasi alam niyo sa mga thesis ng mga nagte-thesis ng mga students, sobrang-sobrang kailangan talaga ng workforce, ng labor force. And sobrang laking tulong ng mga passionate individuals just like you guys, ng mga high school students para mag-collect ng data. For sure, promise. So siguro, what you can do siguro sa in your own high school is to reach out on a particular state university na merong mga environmental science na mga organizations or environmental science offering para matanong nyo kung pwede ba na may mga students na nag-intern sa high school tapos i-match sila to that particular student na doing environmental science research para tumulong sa pag-collect ng data. Okay? So, ayun. Thank you so much. I hope I was able to answer your question.
Okay, thank you so much, Sir Kit, dun sa iyong last statement. Pero I think yun nga, di ba? So, kahit enumerator or hindi naman validator, basta enumerator and encoder ng survey, malaking bagay na yung turo ng high school students. Kasi mag-i-interview
As
lang naman,
in,
mag-i-interview sila ng community. Tapos same
as
language, so
in.
wala nang hirap. And then babasahin lang yung survey questionnaire. So sa mga yes o po na nanonood ngayon, na-enumerate na po namin lahat ng universities na may NVSI. So lapitan nyo na lang po sila. And if nahihiya po kayo lumapit sa kanila, message nyo po kami sa PAES and we'll try to bridge yung unang exploratory meeting. And siguro before I give the floor back to Kent and back to the program, last na nakakatuwa kasi yung research journey mo na yung holistic talaga andon. Meron kang biodive, nagbilang ka ng isda. May water quality, may physical ka. Nag-interview ka ng tao, may social. Tapos may land use plan
Sobra.
pa, so may
Grabe
institutional.
talaga. Alam
Sobrang
mo, imagine,
limo talaga.
oo, as in, sobrang dami talaga ng ginawa ko ng thesis ko. And that was during actually the pandemic. So, hindi ko na talaga alam kung contract na meron na akong COVID nung time na yon. Wala na talaga akong pakialam. Basta ang iniisip ko na lang, tatapusin mo talaga tong pag-collect ko ng data. Yun talaga yung naging motto ko nung time na yon. Hindi ko na talaga alam kasi during that time, ito pa. So ang dami ko talagang na-experience. Kasi remember niyo yung Typhoon Odette, yung Super Typhoon Odette. So nangyari yon December. Tapos after ng December, ay pumunta na ako sa area ko para i-visit ko yung site ko. So yung bahay namin sa Southern Leyte, sira pa during that time. And then may pandemic pa. Tapos na-reject pa talaga yung letter ko. So sobrang daming problema talaga nung na-experience ko noon. Nagkasakit, ang dami ko talagang na-experience. So ayun, siguro parang to get for the students, ma-inspire sila na kaya nyo yan. Especially sa mga nag-MS. Ayun.
Okay, maraming salamat, Sir Kit. So back to you, Kent.
Thank you, Press. And once again, thank you so much, Sir Kit, sa pagpapaunlak sa amin sa hapon. And pasalamatan din natin yung mga kasama nating YesO Media Partners ngayong araw. So again, thank you so much Castillejas National High School, Famay National High School, San Roque National High School, San Ricardo National High School, Palawan National High School, at Julian Soriano Memorial Comprehensive High School. At upang kilalanin ng pagdalo at pagsasalita ng ating resource speaker ngayong araw, ibinibigay ng buong PAES itong Certificate of Appreciation bilang pasasalamat sa ating panguhing tagapagsalita ngayong hapon. And this certificate of appreciation is hereby given to Kit Felian C. Tino, MSc, in recognition for his valuable contribution as a resource speaker in PANTAS, environmental research in the global and local setup, given this 29th day of November 2025, signed by Kendrick Mico L. Faronilo, MSc, President and Founder of PAS. And baka may gusto po kayong sabihin, Sir Kit.
Also, thank you so much, everyone, for being invited. Thank you for this opportunity for being invited as one of the research person in Fantas Environmental Research in the global and local setup. And I hope that you've learned something valuable that you can use in your, daily life, no? And also, siguro kung environmental science student ka or you're pursuing a master's degree, no? So I hope inspired ka, no? Nakatulong ako na hindi talaga madali, pero kaya mo. Thank you.
Alright, again for the last time, thank you so much po, Sir Kit. And para sa isang makakalikasang anunsyo, hinihikayat po namin ang mga local organization na gusto ring maging certified members ng PAS. Kung feel nyo maging parte ng ating ever-growing, evergreen na samahan, slide into our DM sa Facebook page ng PAS. And ayan, meron din po tayong certificate of partnership na ibibigay sa ating mga YesO partners. Again, thank you so much for Castillejo National High School, Famay National Integrated High School, San Ricardo National High School, San Roque National High School, Julian Soriano Memorial Comprehensive High School, at Palawan National High School. And muling paalala na ang ating evaluation form ay bukas lamang mula ngayon hanggang bukas ng alas 8 ng gabi. At sa ating pagtatapos, aming iiwan ng isang quote mula kay Pope Francis: "The climate is a common good, belonging to all and meant for all." Maraming salamat sa lahat ng mga dumalo at nakinig. Sana ay marami tayong natutuhan. Muli ako si Kent Isaiah Heroso Maghari, ang inyong host sa Pantas 2025. Daghang salamat sa tanan, amping kanunay sa susunod.